It was right there.
Okay. Woo. Yes.
Eugene Oponyo is the founder of the Wazalendo movement and is our guest for the next 55 minutes or so. Eugene, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
This is where we fix the nation one conversation at a time, and we'd like to bring fixers from across the nation just so to come and we give you a platform.
Oh, yeah.
Today, the platform is yours.
Thank
and
you.
we want to hear what you do and your views on youth and leadership. But first, Janet is going to give you a quote from a young person. Okay. When they were saying it were young.
When they were Gen Z.
When they were Gen Z.
Yes, this one said it way back in 1972. Steve Biko, who was an anti-apartheid activist, a youth activist from South Africa, and he said, the challenge of the oppressed is to liberate themselves without becoming oppressors. The challenge of the oppressed is to liberate themselves without becoming oppressors. How do you understand this quote?
You know, that's way too far, man. Like, none of my parents was even born in 1972. So, like, but I'm a student of history. I read a lot, and it really speaks to what is going on in the country. We have been oppressed for far too long. I can say for 60 years or so. There have been talks on liberation from those who are trying to oppress us. So there's no way so I really do relate to the quote. There's no way people have been there for us, trying to oppress us, trying to make sure we don't live the life we all want to live. Then we expect them now to give the alternative. It's not going to happen. Yeah.
Nice one.
Nice one. Yeah.
Good way of looking at it. Eugene, I've got two questions for you. Well, one, A and B. Question number one, A. Who is Wazalendo? And question number one, B, what is the Wazalendo movement?
Okay, one, Wazalendo movement is a movement of the patriotic across the globe, where we are trying to bring young people who are jobless together to try and solve the unemployment menace. Because majority of the people speak about unemployment, but very few want to say, how are we going to solve this? Especially with our leaders. You look at it, we are in more of campaign mode. It's like 2 years to elections, but they are just telling us, pointing out like there is unemployment. But none of them is giving ultimatums and on how they are going to solve this unemployment. So as Wazalendo Movement Africa, we thought this is an area we can pursue. And we are pursuing this area through smart farming, where we are setting up smart model farms. We are also giving literacy to the young people, not just young people, but anyone who wants to set up a model farm. We are also setting up aquaponics. We are also doing matters of black soldier fly, which is, this is an animal more of a, that eats anything from the West. Now it converts these waste into feed. And it also converts this feed, these waste into nutrients, that is fertilizer. We also doing matters of azolla farming. Azolla farming is precisely what we call a plant that inatoa a lot of nutrients, and it also feeds on the waste generated from the fish, and even the fish can also eat. So the azolla farming is normally spread in ponds. It can also be fed to cows, it can also be fed to rabbits, and all these other animals, even to poultry. So as an hydroponic system, if we are setting up an hydroponic system, we are combining it with the aquaponics. We are combining it with the black soldier fly. And these are things we've done in a couple ghettos in this city. We have a project at Mama Lucy. We have a project in Upuru Kwanjenga. We are also will be setting up a project in the University of Nairobi, Apakabete campus, where we have already planted 313 fruit tree seedlings under the initiative of Wazalendo orchards, where under these Wazalendo, we have a couple departments. We have a department on climate action, and this department is majorly trying to green spaces in public institutions, because as we all know, majority of the young people, rather Kenyans, they don't own land. So it's so hard to get a space if you want to put up, let's say, trees and stuff like that. So we are using prisons. We've been to a couple prisons in the country. We've been to Kitengela, where a project is running like 2 years at the moment. The other day, when the year was coming to an end, last year, we were in Embu prison, Embu women prison, where we taught these young mothers, we taught these women who've been locked up on issues to do with smart farming, because we believe we all are talking about technology. We all are talking about AI and stuff like that. However, the next future belongs in the farms, because majority of the people just want to sit. No one now wants to go to the farms and bring out the food. So that's why as Wazalendo Movement Africa, we are trying to demystify the fact that matters to do with farming is only for the old and the villagers. This is the only place we can try to solve the unemployment menace, because truthfully, no one is coming to employ us like in these offices. We are all schooled, we are all educated, we are all enlightened. In fact, in Africa, majority of Kenyans have these degrees and stuff. However, majority of them are still waiting to be given a job, which is not coming to happen. But as a movement, we are giving this information through the expertise we have. We have a shout out to Soil Doctor. This is someone who is leading us on the matters of smart farming. He is also helping us in setting up all these hydroponics, where we've been trying to even train farmers across the country. We've held, if you go through our socials, we've held meetings in different counties, because as Wazalendo Movement, we have 32,000 members across the country. To be precise, 32,347.
Okay, Eugene, sorry to interrupt you. I know that sometimes in the last hour, time can go really quickly. You've painted a picture of what Wazalendo does and how you're empowering young people. I love the idea of farming. There's elements of leadership though, right? Elements of youth leadership. How do you define youth leadership, and how are you trying to platform youth leadership through the work you're doing?
Thank you. That is so philosophical question. And I'll say this, you know, like, in this country, it is not even this country, in Africa at large, that's what Wazalendo portrays the entire Africa. It is not just for the Kenyan populace. The youth leadership has been in shambles. It really pains me to look at it from a point of, you have to get old for you to get into leadership positions. Even the people who are calling themselves as youths, they are not. Even those who are in parliament, those who are even in the positions of the youth that are meant for the young people, they are not youth. If you dig deeper on their true maybe papers or maybe ID identification cards, you'll realize these people are not young people. However, they are occupying positions that are meant for the young people. So the youth leadership is in shambles because those in power, or rather those who have been there for some time, they don't want to exit. They keep on telling us, no one will give you, no one, you have to take, that's how politics is all about. However, we have to have our principles. We have to have values, whereby when you're 35 years and above, when you're appointed in a youthful position, you have to have those principles and say, no, I'm past this age. I'm not going to take a position that belongs to the young people. That's why it's so hard to advocate for the rights and grievances of the young people. It's so hard to even give demands, or rather share everything happening in the youth space. Because those who are in those spaces, they're not young people. So, yeah.
We have a lot of young leaders now who are coming up. I think from last year, the world saw and we saw that young people can actually lead. Surely you must be inspired by the fact that right now people are listening to young people, and that there's a chance that young leaders can actually go all the way. Do you feel encouraged by it, or do you still feel like, no, we're still a long way to go?
I am, especially when the Gen Z protest happened. Like, I was so happy because before 2024 a protest, we were just a few young people were talking about politics. But now after 2024 the finance bill, majority of the young people try to get into these spaces, because for far too long we've been told politics is dirty. You have to have these financial muscles. Again, another reason why politics has been so hard from the young people's perspective is we have monetized politics. And as Eugene, as a movement, I'm trying to let young people know we have to demonetize politics. For us to get young people into this political arena, we have to demonetize politics. We don't have the money as the oldies, yet we are the ones with ideas. I don't believe there is a 50-year-old person, maybe 60 or 70, with better ideas than us who will be there in the future. So I believe if we want to change the trajectory of the politics in this country, we have to demonetize politics. Again, we also have to say no to the sunroof politics, because there are very limited, or rather few young people with cars that has sunroofs. So I've seen young people trying to get in this space.
Sunroof politics.
Yes, say no to sunroof politics. Because this sunroof politics, it is already putting a claim out there that this person is more superior than the persons, the people they are addressing. So they give us empty talks. They give us political rhetorics. They don't tell us what is really happening and what they intend to do for the young people. So I'm saying no to, I've been advocating for this. Let's say no to sunroof politics to get young people in the political arena, or rather the political space, because there's no way people who are malnutrition from a point of money, like their pockets are dry, then you expect them now to get in the political arena, just like the oldies who have been working all their life. So if we really want young people to be part of all these, and if also the young people who are there, because there are some young people who have gotten into this space, but they just want to play the oldies politics. We can't win with the financial, because our financial muscles ain't as big as the oldies. So if we want to change the trajectory and on how we do politics in this country, we have to demonetize politics. We have to say no to sunroof type of politics, so that young people, be it you broke, because we have to make politics something that anyone can get into. We have to make it more of a public servant job, more of a teacher, more of a police person, more of a doctor, more of a lawyer, not using politics as a way to sanitize your money, not to use politics.
Who do you tell this to?
Sorry?
Who do you tell this to?
All Kenyans, because in the situation we are in right now, it's not all about the young people. We are all, majority of the Kenyans are languishing in abject poverty. Unemployment is 35% in this country. So I'm speaking to each and every person who is there to listen, that this country can only change if we demonetize politics, especially to the politicians. Politicians, they know very well we're just bickering and complaining on the socials. However, when the 2027 politics will be there, they'll come with the bag of money, splash it in our areas, splash it in our ghettos, and now they get elected. And now we are the ones to get mad and say, huyu mtu afanye kazi. Yetu huyu mtu alinunua kiti. So we don't expect him, kama alinunua hii kiti afanye kazi, ataangalia the return on investment.
I was about to ask who it's more important to receive that message. Is it the politician who's planning and creating a war chest right now for 2027 and just stashing money because he knows that's what will buy the vote? Or is it the voter who is low-key waiting for 2027 because they know I don't have a job, but if I show up there, 500, if I show up there, 1,000, if I show up there, 2,000, even.
All of us, it is a collective responsibility. Whether politicians like it, whether they don't like it, we are going to demonetize politics. In 2027, it is easy to demonetize politics.
How?
Just say no to taking those bribes from politicians. And two, make it a norm that whoever wants to get into politics, akuja tsuja ametengeneza wapi pesa ya wash anakuja kuosha. Like anakuja hapa kwa sababu anataka kusaidia nchi songe mbele. Kwa sababu sasa hivi vijana wengi ama watu wengi ambao tuko nao kwa siasa, wako kwa siasa kwa sababu ya their own hidden agenda. That's why we have a parliament that cannot even check the executive. Kwa sababu mtu alitumia pesa yake kuingia hapo, so he's only trying to see now anaweza tengeneza do yake. So we have to start having this conversation and telling young people, look, without making these politicians think they owe us, or rather they own us. We have to tell them, look, you must come and tell us what is the agenda of the young people. For instance, someone like Gachagua has been on political rhetorics for quite some time right now. He's now, I call him as an internet sensation. He's not, I don't look at him from a leader who needs to take power, because you can't be a deputy president. I'm speaking from the mere fact that I have written letters as the chairperson of Wazalendo Movement Africa to his office when he was the deputy president, for him to come and attend our events, be it on our climate action or smart farming. I've even invited him to sending couple letters, sat down with these people, the youth representative, Deuri, the legs of Ivy Chelimo. Nothing was moving. But before the UDA campaigns, Gachagua was an easy person to get to. He used to even pick calls, you understand? But the moment he got into power, I don't know, maybe he realized now my name is Oponyo. It starts with an O. It's no longer from the mountain. Now we can't even access to him. So I think individuals, or rather Kenyans, must learn to differentiate between blind optimism. Just because someone is trying to be anti the government, now you think that is the savior. No, Gachagua is not the rightful person to be our savior. as young people, or rather as a nation, because there's no way you've been a deputy president. Even right now, he launched his party the other day. He has never left the Mount Kenya. He was impeached 2 years ago. You can count the number of days he has been away from the mountain. So that's not someone we say like, these are not the people we are looking at to come and change this country. That's why I love the quote from Janet when he said about liberation from the same oppressors. He has been in the system before I was born. In fact, he was a DO in the areas I come from in Kakamega. So before I was even born, this is just a story my dad used to tell me. So there's no way this person has been in the system for far too long. You expect him to bring systemic shift. Yeah.
Do you think he stopped picking your calls because your name starts with an O, or because you're not part of the political class?
Because he just got busy.
True. That.
Yeah, it is viable to say so. However, I believe as a leader, the moment you're elected, you have to serve people. And in fact, that statement you've brought up, Latif, about leaders being busy, that is in emptiness, that is incompetency. Because if you look in this government, the majority of the people in this government feel like they should not even pick calls. When every time they are on WhatsApp just to scroll and see who has posted this, was posted that. They are always on their Facebook, they are always on these platforms. So what are you busy doing? What are you busy doing when we call you? You're supposed to be busy with us. You're supposed to be serving us. You're servant of the people. You are a cabinet secretary for God's sake. You are a permanent secretary. You're supposed to pick and return calls. If you are too busy, you need to get you have people in your office who can handle all that. So in fact, tuache kufanya watu wana feel like they are more superior. Now they feel like when you call them, or maybe you want to ask them for something, we have to make it known that the moment you get into a public office, you have to serve the people. That's why we have to demystify the fact that whoever is in politics must be financially well off for them to get into politics, because kila mtu atataka return on investment. Yeah.
You know, you've mentioned just the question about, you know, what your name starts with, vis-a-vis. Previously, you know, just moments ago, we had the Senator of Narok saying the same thing. I want to find out from you your thoughts on whether tribal politics is having an influence on young people, because that is something that inevitably tends to happen in our country. Closer to the election, the tribal politics is done because it rouses that reaction. Are you seeing that happening with a lot of young people, and how can we begin to shift that or pause that or halt that? Because then if that's already something that's happening, it's going to go all the way till 2027. What are your observations around it?
You know, that's why I pity individuals like Gachagua, like AOE in 2025. Maybe I even have a girlfriend from Madeira, where you're from. Maybe I have my side chick is from maybe Muranga, or maybe my ex-girlfriend from Kiambu. So we are not going to subscribe to tribal politics. However, we have to be very keen as young people, because there will be crusaders. There will be people hate mongers. There will be people who want to divide us. There will be people who want to spin the narratives and try to make sure young people are not speaking the same voice. However, we have to speak as young people, or rather as Kenyans, as one constituency. Because the problem that is happening in this country, young people are not consolidated. We are in different political parties. If we have few in Jubilee, we have few in ODM, we have few in UDA, we cannot advocate and seek for the demands for the young people. So we have, first of all, to consolidate the young people into one constituency, so that if we have our own constituency, it is easy to advocate for what we want. Because tribalism will be used by the same oppressors who've been there. Tribalism will be used by presidential candidates who feel like they have no any other narrative to spin. Because believe me, Janet, none of these leaders we have now has a solution for Kenya. They are the reason as to why we are in this. They are the reasons as to why you have to look at someone from their name. Like, are you from the mountain? Are you from Nyanza? Are you from Western? You see? So there's no way they are coming to do away with such politics. It's for us, the people, we Kenyans, to say no, we are not going to continue with this trajectory. Because in this city, hata ujui, hata watu wanakusaidia sana si watu penye umetoka from your tribe. We do businesses across. So why is it that ikifika time fulani ya politics tunaanza kugawanywa juu maybe Gachagua maanza kutuambia tusienda kwa mlima? No man, like politics is very different. In fact, there is majority of other African nationals in this town, or rather in this country, who are trying. There are a lot of Burundis, there is a lot of Rwandans, there is a lot of Tanzanians and even Ugandans, and we are still stuck on the tribal politics.
So do you think it's going to have an impact?
Yeah, that's
the next election.
Oh, definitely. That's why I'm telling you, like, I pity politicians who are trying to stack their money up, stealing from us, stealing from health, stealing from agriculture for them to use that money to get into politics.
Show me, from your own example, from everything that you've seen,
yeah,
working with the Wazalendo movement, where the non-tribal politics or thinking is actually permeating.
Yeah, right now.
That even come the next general election, people will not be looking at this person is from my region, or so on and so forth, and just go across the country. If you went to, what village do you come from in Western again?
Shironyanga village.
In Shironyanga village, that Shironyanga village people, the youth in Shironyanga village, will not be thinking, huyu ni mtu wetu wa hapa kwetu, let's start with, this is from our village, this is from our community, going nationally even as they vote.
You see, Latif, whatever makes people go back to the tribal cocoons is the economic turmoil we're in. And I'm a great advocate for saying economic empowerment over political empowerment. If we empower ourselves, that's why I'm for the opinion we have to push smart farming as a way. If we empower our people through smart farming models, we'll have enough food. People with food, they will not pick a side because that is my person. Huyu ni mtu wetu. Kwa sababu watu wanapiki hizo sides kwa sababu ya njaa. Wanajua ule mtu mwingine ambaye kwa ile side nyingine haezi mpatia chochote. So that's why they will pick mtu wetu. But if we economically empower our people, if we economically empower Kenyans, if we economically empower our food security, because 200 billion is spent on agriculture in this country. So if we just try even make it this year like 100 billion, trust me, you people, politicians will not have no any other way but to say, hey, hii siasa inakaa this time ni ngumu, kama si issues itakuwa ngumu sana kupenetrate. Kwa sababu I can assure you, we young people, we are going to talk to our parents and say, you're not going to elect someone based on alikupatia mafuta ya kupika. We as young people, rather as Kenyans who see like what the future holds, we are going to talk to those people in the villages. We are going to speak to each and every Kenyan and let them know this country can only move forward if we agree that we are all at fault. If we agree that tribalism has been taking us back. Tribalism has not put this country where we want to be. Remember in 2002, when the country said yote yawezekana bila Moi, Kibaki was elected. What did Kibaki do? You ended up having a tribal cabinet. He ended up, he has done all the good things, but there's only one thing that people feel like Kibaki did not do right. Tribalism. If we could have tried to say we are not going to go that direction and embrace Kenyanese, trust me, we will be in this situation we are in as a country. Yeah.
Right. The young people you speak of, the population at large, it's not uniform though. The ways of thinking, the values, they're all different. That's why why the cocoons exist. That's why the parties exist. That's why all those dichotomies exist. So what is going to unify young people?
We already unified by the mere fact we are unemployed. We have already unified by the mere fact we are young. So we don't need any other unification.
Can I challenge that?
Okay.
I could be unemployed and I'm like, ay, mimi baba ni mtu wangu. I could be unemployed and I'm like, hustler for life. I could be unemployed but I'm like, no.
Why do you think
I'm waiting for Casmuel or for Eugene or for Morara to run.
Yeah.
That's it.
Why do you think so? Before I give you my perception.
Because that's the reality of our politics. We are united in our little cocoons. Yes, we're like, I'm unemployed, unemployed, but the way we operate is party politics, tribal politics, right?
Yeah.
So then that's what we go home to. We forget that the bigger problem is our economic lack of development and our unemployment, and we just go back to basics.
You see Basha, right?
Bishar.
Yeah, you see... sorry.
That's a new one.
That's a new
I thought you had all of them.
I think that's a good one.
I like that one.
Bashar.
Bashar, okay.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah, so that's why I'm here. to say we are demystifying the current political landscape. We have to do new landscaping. It's a new dawn. So the Raila politics, Raila, like my father's been trying to advocate the Raila type of politics for far too long. Like he has convinced me to be on the other side. I've been an ardent supporter. However, there is what we call you have to give motivation. There's that time. Like, there's time you no longer inspire people. There comes a time where even the president no longer inspires people. Even the likes of, you've mentioned my brother and my friend Kasmuel, which we've tried to do a couple things together. They no longer inspire people because you just tend to do the same type of politics. That's why we as the people, we as Wazalendo, we as the patriots of this country, we are only going to do the economic empowerment. If we try to manage and sustain the economic empowerment in this country, trust me, the politics of personalization will come to an end. But people will follow Raila Amolo Odinga because there's no alternative. The alternative you're giving them is still a tribal alternative to follow Amnyoro. And there's no way people will stop following Raila to follow Amnyoro. And there's no way people will stop following Amnyoro to follow Raila. We have to demystify the politics we have at the current situation and bring the politics of issues. Whereby even when politicians call us for a meeting, we are going to discuss about the issues happening in the country, not to discuss, not to cheer them up and tell them how good they are, and tell them how more of a god they are. No, we are here just for a little time in this country, or rather on this world. We are all headed to, we will all die. Like, we ain't, yeah.
We are going to Sayun.
Yeah, we ain't here for far too long.
Yeah.
So why should you make your life? You know very well these are the people who are making life become very unbearable. But you keep on trying to say these are the people who are going to change our life just because someone is from your town or city. No, that's not the type of politics we want.
Some of them are saying they want to co-lead with young people.
And that's even absurdity, you know, like... for instance, like, no shots taken, but look at even Kalonzo. Like, this is someone who went to parliament before even my mom and dad met. But if you ask them, what have you done in Yatta? What is there in Machakos that you've done that we can go there and check? Let's say look at even Maraga or even Omtata.
But why there? I thought you were not being tribal.
Sorry?
I thought you're not being tribal.
No,
why
like,
are you only confining him to Ukambani and asking what he has done for Ukambani?
Because even if I ask him about Busia, I don't know if he knows like what's happening in Busia. So I would rather ask him what he has done in his own backyard. The same way to the former Chief Justice Honorable Maraga. Honorable Maraga was in the court of in the Supreme Court. However, there was massive corruption. But if you look at his manifesto, his key or rather first approach is corruption. Yet when he was the Chief Justice in this country, there was corruption was embedded in the judicial system. We have had cries. Cases have been sold to the highest bidder. But now you tell us you're coming into the higher office in this country to solve unemployment. Look for instance, who else is vying? Look for Matiang'i. Matiang'i was the Minister for the Interior. There are atrocities he committed in this country. Now these are the people who want to come up and say that they want to do a cleanup. There's no way you'll spit, then want to clean up and try to lecture people who are around there when you're doing all that. So we have to say we need new crops of leaders. So
who is this new crop of leader? Who is it? And how shall we know that this is now the right leader? You've told us who's not the right leader.
Yeah.
So who's the right leader?
The right leader, and that's why as a country, we need to have a renaissance. Because we have to agree, like I've said earlier, we have all participated in the fault we as a country. The odious debt we have all participated, or you know someone was participated. If we check about unemployment, if we talk about corruption, we know at least someone we have seen maybe in the news stealing money. So I think we have to go back to our values. We have to go back to our constitution. If we go back to our constitution and say, these are the principles as a country we are going to stand on. Trust me, the serious young people, the serious Kenyans who feel like they have the rightful values, they will come out and try to lead the election. Because we have monetized politics. So the people, even with the right intention, even the other day you were hosting PLO Lumumba, and you asked him why is he not even in politics, and he told you he cannot get there because the common people, the common voters expect for you to give them something for you to be elected. So people like PLO who have integrity, they will not give out money. They know leadership is there to serve the people. And now the people that are supposed to vote for you are expecting something from you. So we have to demystify all this type of politics. That's why we need a national renaissance period. Yeah.
How do we get there, Eugene? Because I think I've seen you've told us very well the work that you've been doing with Wazalendo movement, and just saying, let's get into agribusiness, let's look into ways in which we can empower ourselves economically. Yeah. And you've gone on to all these places, and now I think, how many youth are involved in with Wazalendo movement?
32,000 at the moment.
32,000 youth.
Yeah.
Okay? It's a good thing. You're a fixer. Yeah. Would you convince people to vote for you? Do you think that you can convince the 32,000 to elect you?
Or any elective post?
Yes. Pick an elective post from 1 to 6.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I'm not just a talker, not just yapping and stuff like that. Like, we here to make sure this country moves to the right direction.
Okay. And do you think you can use the 32 and expand your network to convince more and more people to vote for you?
In fact, I'm already on it. I'm holding caucuses with the young people. The other day I was in Lamu, I was in Tana River, like barely 2 weeks ago. In fact, on Thursday I will also be traveling out of Nairobi for the same, because we have to point out leaders in those areas and sit down with them and for them to go and talk to the people that, look, this country is in a mess. And for us to believe in the Kenya we all believe in, we have to agree that these issues have to be addressed. And these issues are not going to be addressed by people who have been there for far too long. These issues will only be addressed by us, the people who believe that unemployment can be solved, not the people who believe corruption should be the daily bread. We have to agree that this country can be fixed by the people who have that hunger to fix the problems bedeviling us.
I can imagine some things happening. Yeah. That when you hold these meetings, people come and they say yes. And in fact, they say amen. They stand up, they clap, they give you standing ovation in that you've said the right thing. Yeah. What do they tell you behind the tent?
Behind the tent?
What truth do they then tell you? That ni sawa hiyo yote umesema, that's good, that is ideal. Sasa, the reality. What do they tell you as a reality?
Na hii mambo nakwambia ni reality. Si vile tumekwambia si talks tu. Na reality ni watu wanasema mambo ni mbaya. Watu wanapaki kwa poke. Like wase wamesota mbaya. Na kitu mbaya ni hata wase wamesota wengi pia hata si vijana. Hata pia wazae wamesota. So like kama kila msa amesota, lazima tuangalie venye wase wata get do. Tukijichocha hapa tunangojea sijui gava itafanya vile tutapata ganji, hiyo ni story. So that's why sisi sasa kama Wazalendo tukiwa na hizi meetings with the leaders now who will be vying in 2027, tunawachapia like tusiende tu kwa mitaa, tusiende tu kwa those villages na tuite vijana alafu tuanze kuwabongesha. Tuite kama hii juzi niliona Morara akiwa huko, I think ni Mkuru. Like unafanya the same thing tumanze Rawame kwa kifanya kuanzia 1970s, like anaita vijana, anaanza kuwabongesha, anakaa sasa yeye ndo ana speak for them. Sisi hatutaki siasa kama hiyo. Siasa yenyewe tunataka ni tukuje tukae chini na wewe, kama wewe ni Ruto, kama wewe ni Rao, tuambie manzi unadai kutupanga aje. Like acha kutuchocha ati sijui I'll be creating these jobs, I'll be creating these jobs.
Vijana wapate nafasi za ajira. Kina mama wapate kufungua biashara, and so on and so forth.
Na before tuambie hizo.
So nyinyi wewe kaka Eugene, when you go now with Wazalendo, so what is your different approach and messaging?
The different approach ni, first of all, tutapanda miti na vijana. Kama juzi on Saturday tulikuwa State House Girls. Tutapanda miti na tunapanda miti za matunda. Meaning hii matunda watu wanaweza uza. Tunapanda miti katika hospitali where even the patients can get nutrients. At the same time tunajaribu kuwapatia elimu ya mambo ya ukulima wa kisasa. Tunawaambia sisi kama Wakenya tunazaana, population ikiendelea kukua kubwa. So tunahitaji njia mbadala za kuweza kugenerate our food. So sisi tunakuja, first of all we do the economic empowerment. We try and tell them this is the smart farming literacy. These are the ways you can use for you to try to empower, to self-employ yourself. So ndo mtu hata sasa ukianza kumwambia stories za siasa anaelewa like at least wewe umetry kunichapia kitu inaweza nisaidia nipate ganji. And like unakuja tu kwanza kumwambia by the Ruto must go. Let's say God forbid leo Ruto asitoke. You know all these politicians you see. Yeah. Like a daddy for instance, like God forbid.
Okay.
Hiyo inamaanisha there's no way hata Gachagua atakuwa na agenda. There's no way Maraga watakuwa na agenda and like hata yeye. Yes. So lazima tubadilishe mfumo wa siasa yetu. Tukue ni issues tunaongelelea. Si just political rhetorics. Like tumekuwa tukisikia hii mambo ya kutupiana maneno for far too long. Sasa pia sisi tumeanza kuzeeka, alafu sasa
tunafanya mtu mmemsaidia.
Yeah. Tutaongea hadi tuzeeke.
Yeah.
There's some feedback on YouTube.
Yes, I was looking at that.
This is the myth of youth has always been there. The fallacy that the voter will reject money is laughable. In order to fix our politics, we must start with education. People need to learn. Elections have, I think, processes, or I'm not sure, I think they dropped off before they finished their sentence. But yeah, there's a way to do elections, right? George Momore says, very sober and articulate conversation. Change needs to happen. The leaders on the table need to be sent home. A fresh of breath air is necessary. I think they meant a breath of fresh air. I like the way that you argue, young man. Kalonzo has done nothing since he joined government. There's also there's a question on being bought by the Kikombe. Yes, well-spoken gentleman. I hope he cannot be bought. Money changes minds and changes people's true plans. Something we've seen happen over and over again with older leaders, younger leaders, emerging leaders, established leaders. What at some point wananunuliwa?
Yeah. Or they're accused of being bought. Like you're being accused of being bought by Mungai Mundia, who says this person is biased, he's been paid by KK government to come and give utterances mentioning Wamunyoro.
For real, like I'll be honest with that question two of you have asked. For me, I've supported all these people. I've worked for the Odingas ever since I was still in the university. I've been there on the Ruto campaign trail. So I'm not speaking from a point of I don't know what goes on in the political arena. I'm speaking from a point of I've seen we as the young people, we as Kenyans, no one is coming to give the alternative. And those who are coming to give the alternative, they are coming to give the political alternative, not the economic alternative. So we, as young people, we have to say, for us to change what is happening in this country, for us to stop people living from Middle East, for us to stop all this exploitation of labor, we have to begin at home and say, this home must be revamped. This home is not on the right path. So I'm not trying to say people are not bought. People definitely are given money, and people say, I will no longer speak for the people. And for me, I'm not trying to put myself in a way that I want to be the spokesperson of the people. No, I'm only trying to be a vessel so that people, just like the Jesus Christ or rather, the Messiah, just giving the message, this is what might happen. I'm not trying to say like, I now want to jump in. You're
not the answer.
Yeah, but at least we have solutions. Not just people want to point out what Ruto has not done, but giving the alternative of what Ruto needs to done. For instance, the First Lady, she has a very beautiful, how do you call, project on matters of kitchen gardens. But because she is surrounded by people who can think, because people are looking on how they can milk money from the projects. Now a good project does not even meet what is supposed to be done. Inakwama hapo. Unaona kama juzi hizo vitu walikuwa na launch.
He's so frustrated. Eugene, I want to ask you something just along what you're saying, because you've talked about farming, smart farming. What are one or two other key sectors that you think need priority? You know, unemployment is obviously big. I'm trying to think about, let's say, what was I going to say? What's the word? Manifesto.
Yeah.
Not that I'm trying to force manifestos on you. But say, for example, if you had, these are the 3 things that I would do to progress the lives of young people. Number 1, smart farming. What are number 2 and 3?
The second one will be sports diplomacy. Under sports diplomacy, we as Wazalendo, if you agree, I know you agree with me that when was the last time you were in the stadium to watch football? Or rather, maybe let's say a boxing match. When was the last time? You see, you're thinking about it.
I'm thinking about it.
It means like it's some long time ago. You see, why? Because the people who play for the Kenyan teams, they don't have celebrity status. So the moment you don't have a celebrity status, you can't even get an endorsement. You can't get these Safaricom, all these other companies trying to come to your rescue for as a team. So first of all, as a movement, we have what we call Wazalendo sports diplomacy. And under this, we are also trying to hook young people into boxing, because we can't just say it's only football, itatusaidia kutoka kwa block. We have also to include other games also. So we have what you call kids for boxing for kids. Hata tumefanya nini moja huko how do you call korogosho ya watoto, na pia tukawapatia zawadi kwa sababu we are trying to nurture these kids. By the time they're getting to 18, they at least know how to use their social media to be people who can get an endorsement. Sio kila saa tuna complain our athletes in this country wako hapo lakini hawana chochote. Sio kila siku tuna complain athletes wetu wamesota. Sio kila siku tuna complain ama we come to our rescue the moment we see these athletes already trending and saying now we want to laugh at them and all that. So ndo maana tunatumia the sports diplomacy same way to football, because in football if tunaweza make at 5 players from Gor Mahia, 5 from police, congratulations to them, they just won the league the other day. 5 games from let's say Shabana, and these are teams at least I have people in very young people, lakini hakuna msana wajua unapata, so hizo zinaweza raise hata salary zao zikuje to this standard. Another thing is now we in this digital era, we have to talk about cryptocurrency. You know, for far too long people have made crypto look like it's a scam, yet people are making money out of this. There's couple people, we have to drive this agenda to the people. I saw the other day, I don't know if it's last year or this year, the Treasury trying to incentivize all things around crypto. However, it wasn't being done in the right way, kwa sababu unajua shida ya project mingi za gava, wasa wanakujanga na project ndo wakule. Kuji na project zisaidia wase. You see, so kama tunaweza angalia mambo ya crypto, that's when Wazalendo we are trying to build what we call Wazalendo blockchain. For us, when we get into these carbon markets, at least there's traceability. At least kuna mahali tunaweza sema hii ndo backup yetu na ina mambo mingi. So crypto, sports diplomacy, climate action, and smart farming, those will be the easier way to try and hook up young people to be on the
You know, I see them, and my worry is whether people will actually be able to see this and see the political side of it, right? Because these things that happen, you know, projects, youth, economic empowerment, whether it's young people, whether it's women and all, they happen all the time. But people just look at that in mambo ya maendeleo, ile ni mambo ya siasa. Whether they will see there was a Wazalendo that has been planting trees, also is a Wazalendo that is a governance project, and so on and so forth. And how do you then make them see that this economic empowerment you're talking about, we can use the same platform to run politics, to have policy change, to have leadership change in the country? So easy. For Wazalendo, it is an economic empowerment tool. But now when it comes time for politics, that's why for now we just on consolidation, trying to consolidate the youth constituency. The moment that happens, because you know, for you to seek political power, you need a political party. There's no way we are coming in as Wazalendo to seek for political power on a movement or rather on an organization. We have to seek for political power through a political party. So a time will definitely come. For now, it is all about consolidation. The moment we get the rightful young people, right now we have more than 300 aspirants across the country. The moment we can get, because I'm telling young people, or other Kenyans at large, hii masaa tunapoteza kusema Ruto must go, tunapoteza masaa. Kwanza si vijana time inasonga mbio sana, tunazeeka mbaya. Na hakuna, like, hata nimesikia lakini akisema Ruto atakuwa for the next 5 years. So like basically 2 years. Na 2 years ni mingi sana manze, like kukaa kama umesota, kukaa kama una form. Like instead tu msana kuambia Ruto must go, Ruto must go. Hakuna vile nenda next week ama hata kesho. So afadhali we come up with things we can do in these 2 years. That's why we are using Wazalendo as an economic empowerment tool, not just for political rhetorics, because political rhetorics zinajazwa was same ta sana. But as you solve
issues tuko nazo. Hiyo tako iko hapo. For instance, last year on 10th of October, we did a walk in this city. We did a walk of more than 1,700 people. And in this walk, we collected all the waste in the Nairobi CBD. Then later on in January, we saw even Honorable Mosira launching almost the same thing, which we have not been involved as a movement. But if you look at it, haijakuwa pia ikifanyika in a way that imebadilisha the way the city look is. Bado kuna uchafu kila mahali.
Thank you. Thank you, Eugene. That's all the time we have. Before we properly tell you goodbye, just teasing that your world is up next. The face behind the smile. Silent struggles behind seemingly normal lives. So Winnie and Mikali will be speaking to a psychiatrist and a person with a lived experience. That's coming up in the next couple of minutes. But this has been Fixing the Nation on NTV and Nation FM and our digital platforms.
Chapiatindi says, the problems facing Kenya should not be addressed solely from a youth perspective. They are national issues, not just youth issues. When you frame them as Gen Z or youth leadership matters, you fail even before you begin. These are Kenyan problems. Solving them requires a united national approach.
You come out to Anaskia half because it's, I think people say Gen Z led, youth led, but Anaskia too, youth. I'm not in that equation.
Problem you use.
Yeah, use when I was Gen Z.
Eugene Oponyo is the founder of the Wazalendo movement. That's been our guest. Asante sana for joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, awesome.
And thank you for fixing the nation with us this morning. Join us again tomorrow morning. We'll be fixing the nation. Tomorrow's 4 conversations at a time. It's just like that. Have a lovely day. Enjoy your world coming up next. It's Eric Latif, Mariam Bashar, and Janet Bogo.
See you.